What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Today we're diving into what's next for Oliveira following his incredible win at UFC Rio. When the fight was first announced, there were plenty of concerns about Oliveira stepping back into the octagon so soon after suffering a brutal knockout loss to Ilya in June. Many questioned whether it was too early for Dio Bronx to return. But not only did he silence those doubts, he made history once again. Oliveira faced the dangerous grappler Gamrot in the main event, a fighter known for his relentless wrestling and high-level ground control. In the lead-up to the bout, Gamrot openly welcomed the idea of testing himself on the ground against Oliveira's legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That challenge, however, didn't go as he might have expected. Early in the fight, Gamrot managed to take Oliveira down, but the moment the fight hit the mat, Charles turned the tables instantly. From his back, Oliveira showcased his slick and aggressive guard, forcing Gamrot to defend multiple submission attempts. Every time Gamrot looked to advance, he found himself entangled in dangerous traps set by the submission king himself. By the second round, the tide completely shifted. Oliveira executed a perfectly timed takedown and immediately transitioned into dominant control. Within moments, Gamrot was in serious trouble. Oliveira locked in a tight choke and forced the tap, securing yet another highlight reel submission victory. With this win, Oliveira extended his record for the most submissions in UFC history to 17 and the most finishes overall to 21. So, what's next for him? While a title shot may not be immediately on the table due to his recent loss to Pereira, this performance showed that Oliveira remains a major threat in the lightweight division. In his post-fight interview, he didn't shy away from calling out big names, specifically expressing interest in facing the BMF champion, signaling his hunger for high-profile, legacy-defining fights. Once again, Charles has proven why he's one of the most exciting and fearless fighters in the UFC today, continuing to chase greatness with every appearance inside the cage. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. Please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. Move on to another news. Following Charles Oliveira's emphatic win at UFC Rio, the MMA world lit up when he called out Max Holloway, the current BMF champion. It didn't take long for Holloway to respond. Shortly after the event, he went live to share his thoughts on the potential matchup, expressing genuine excitement and hinting that it could be a perfect fit for the highly anticipated UFC White House event. Holloway's reaction was classic, blessed, laid back, confident, and filled with trademark humility. "I know, bro. I know. I see the chat blowing up," he said with a grin during his live session. "We heard the call out. Tell him only time will tell. That fight at the White House event, man, that would be fun." While he didn't make any promises, Holloway acknowledged that the idea of facing Oliveira again, this time under much higher stakes, definitely intrigued him. He went on to reflect on their shared history inside the octagon. "We've been talking about this fight for a while," Holloway said. "Me and him have history. He's said before that his performance in our last fight was affected by an injury. I guess now we'll get the chance to find out for real. We'll finally get to figure it out in the cage." Beyond the excitement of a possible rematch, Holloway also gave fans an update on his recovery. The former featherweight champion recently sustained a hand injury, and many have been wondering when he'd return to full training. "My hand is getting better," he reassured fans. "Not 100% yet, but it's improving every day. I'm just waiting to get cleared for contact work. I haven't really been back on the mats yet, just doing strength and conditioning, keeping the body right, but we'll be back sooner rather than later." Even though Holloway didn't officially commit to the fight, his tone made it clear that the idea excites him, and fans are already buzzing about what could be one of the biggest and most entertaining fights of the year. A clash between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway, two of the UFC's most dynamic and beloved fighters, promises fireworks, legacy implications, and perhaps a defining moment for both men. For now, Holloway remains patient, healing, and focused. But if his words are any indication, the possibility of this fight isn't just wishful thinking. It's a showdown that both he and Oliveira and the MMA world might soon get to witness. Move on to another news. After his dominant performance at UFC 320, Alex Pereira has officially confirmed that he suffered a broken foot during his fight against Ankalaev. Despite the injury, the light heavyweight champion showcased his trademark power and composure, finishing the bout in style. However, in a recent Q&A session ahead of the UFC's Rio card, Pereira revealed that the injury was more serious than initially believed and discussed his plans for a potential return at the highly anticipated UFC White House event. "I did an X-ray in Las Vegas and an MRI here in Brazil," Pereira explained. "We confirmed there's a fracture in my foot, but I still don't know exactly what will happen or how long recovery will take. I think it's best to focus on the White House card. It's something that really interests me. Given his current condition, it seems likely that fans want see Pereira back in the octagon until June 14th, the date of the UFC White House event. That means a long 9-month layoff for one of the sport's most exciting and feared strikers. A tough wait for MMA fans eager for another potent knockout. During the same fan Q&A, Pereira was also asked about the growing buzz around a potential super fight with Jon Jones da Itara. The Brazilian star responded with humility and focus. This is MMA. Those who know my work know that I always say, you either win or lose. But I'll do my best, prepare myself well, and go in there to get the victory. Pereira was also questioned about recent claims from Ankalaev's camp, who released footage suggesting the Russian fighter competed with broken ribs 3 weeks before UFC 320. I can't know for sure, Pereira said, but if he was already injured, the elbows probably made it worse. Still, you can't make excuses. I had 1,000 reasons to make excuses myself, but chose not to. They're already giving excuses to take away from my win, and that's not right. Meanwhile, chatter continues to grow around potential matchups for Pereira's return. Alongside talks of a fight with Jon Jones, Khamzat Chimaev has also publicly called out the light heavyweight champion. Addressing that scenario, lightweight contender Beneil Dariush told Helenier in an interview, I'd actually prefer Pereira to get a big money fight like Jon Jones. He's 38 now, and maybe thinking about retiring. I'd rather see him ride off into the sunset with a massive payday than get mauled by Khamzat. Move on to another news. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael has shared an intriguing idea for the future of two dominant champions, Alexander Volkanovski and Merab Dvalishvili. With both men currently ruling their divisions, Bisping believes a champion versus champion showdown between the featherweight and bantamweight kings could be an incredible spectacle for fans. Merab is coming off a dominant decision victory over Corey Sandhagen, successfully defending his bantamweight crown, while Volkanovski recently reclaimed the featherweight title in April after a hard-fought decision win over Diego Lopes. Despite several possible matchups being discussed, such as Merab versus Peter Yan or Volkanovski facing Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evlov, nothing has been officially booked. In a recent YouTube video, Bisping shared his bold proposal. If everyone's going to jump around weight classes, then why not Merab? If Khamzat Chimaev can challenge Pereira, if Alex Pereira might face Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall, if Conor McGregor can fight without defending a title, and if Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria both want to move up, then why can't Merab? He's practically cleaned out his division. Tell me you wouldn't want to see Volkanovski's Valisted. While fans found the idea exciting, Merab Dvalishvili doesn't appear to have plans to move up to 145 pounds anytime soon. However, the discussion highlights how dominant he's become at bantamweight and how fans are eager for fresh, high-stakes matchups. Meanwhile, the featherweight division continues to evolve. According to Daniel Cormier, the next title shot should go to Lerone Murphy. Speaking on good guy, bad guy, Cormier said, for me, a title fight should be Volkanovski vs Murphy. Then I'd make Diego Lopes versus Yair Rodriguez. Remember how intense things got between them? They were arguing at press conferences before ever stepping in the cage. It's personal, and that sells. Cormier also addressed the rising contender Movsar, suggesting he face Youssef Salal next. Here's the issue with Movsar. He's not as well known yet. I'd match him with Salal, who's been on a great run. If Salal wins, he becomes a serious contender. If Movsar wins, he earns a clear title shot. You can't deny a guy who's been that dominant. As for Aljamain Sterling, Cormier believes he should serve as the backup fighter for now, staying ready for any opportunity that opens up. Move on to another news. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Giorgi Prochazka has made it clear he's not happy with Magomed Ankalaev. After a dramatic return at UFC 320, where Prochazka stormed back to finish Khalil Rountree Jr. in the third round, the Czech warrior immediately set his sights on another showdown with Alex Pereira. Cameras captured Prochazka's emotional reaction as Pereira reclaimed the light heavyweight title, and since then, Giorgi has voiced his desire for another crack at the belt. However, it's not just the title on his mind. Prochazka also has unresolved tension with Ankalaev. In a recent interview with Home Fight, he expressed frustration over comments Ankalaev allegedly made about him on social media. Prochazka explained, right now I really don't care about Ankalaev because he wrote some things about me on Twitter. Then, when he met me in person, he acted like nothing had happened, like there was no bad blood between us. I didn't even think maybe someone else wrote those tweets for him. But even then, he needs to understand that there's a level of responsibility in what's said publicly. Prochazka's comments hint at genuine animosity between the two top contenders. Despite both men currently chasing another shot at the championship, this brewing rivalry could easily turn into one of the most intense storylines in the light heavyweight division. Prochazka remains one of the UFC's most unorthodox and spiritual fighters, known for his samurai mindset, unpredictable striking, and relentless pursuit of greatness. lightness. Meanwhile, Ankalaev has built his reputation on precision, control, and composure inside the octagon. If the UFC decides to match them up, fans would witness a fascinating clash of philosophies. Chaos versus calculation. While neither fighter has officially called for the matchup, the tension and history between them might just be enough for the UFC to consider booking this showdown. For Prochazka, it's not only about redemption, it's about respect, honor, and proving once again why he belongs at the top of the division. Move on to another news. Major chaos erupted in the MMA community last night after what appeared to be a huge UFC 323 main event leak during a live broadcast. The incident unfolded right after Michael Aswell defeated Lucas Almeida, when Aswell accidentally revealed sensitive information during his post-fight interview. While celebrating his victory, Aswell let slip that reigning flyweight champion Alexander Pantoja is set to face his best friend, Joshua Van, at UFC 323 in December. The problem? The UFC has not officially announced the matchup yet. According to Aswell, the fight was already announced, though no official confirmation has been made by the promotion or Dana White. The comment immediately caught fire online. Fans and journalists quickly flooded social media, reacting to what seemed to be an unintentional leak of a highly anticipated title bout. One user on X, formerly Twitter, wrote, "He's definitely not getting on that card now." Another joked, "Dana, bring Joshua Van out here to face off with the champ, since it's already leaked anyway." Others sarcastically imagined Dana White's frustration, saying, "Dana must be punching the air right now." Insiders believe Joshua Van, who reportedly has close ties to Aswell, may have privately shared details of the fight, trusting him to keep it confidential. Unfortunately, Aswell's excitement in the heat of the moment seems to have gotten the better of him. What was meant to be a casual post-fight celebration quickly turned into one of the most talked-about blunders of the night. The MMA community is now divided on how the UFC should handle the situation. Some fans argue that Aswell made an innocent mistake and shouldn't be penalized, while others believe leaking undisclosed fight information compromises the promotion's marketing strategy and timeline. There's also speculation that the leak might have been intentional, perhaps a way for the UFC to gauge public reaction to the potential Pantoja versus Van matchup before making it official. Regardless of the truth, the situation has already generated massive online buzz. Whether this was a genuine slip-up or a clever marketing test, one thing is certain: if Pantoja versus Van does take place at UFC 323, it will now arrive with even more attention and anticipation than ever before. Move on to another news. Following his latest victory, Deiveson Figueiredo wasted no time making his intentions clear. He wants to fight the reigning bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili. The former flyweight king expressed interest in taking on one of the toughest and most dominant fighters in the division, setting the stage for what could be a thrilling clash between two elite competitors. However, many analysts believe such a matchup may not happen immediately. Figueiredo is currently coming off back-to-back losses to Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen, which could make the UFC hesitant to grant him a title shot so soon. Still, one key detail adds intrigue. Figueiredo is among the very few top-ranked bantamweights that Merab hasn't already faced or defeated. With Dvalishvili having essentially cleared out most of the top 10, a fresh challenger like Figueiredo could offer something new to the division. Despite doubts, both fighters have shown mutual respect. After Figueiredo's impressive performance in his last bout, Merab Dvalishvili took to social media to congratulate him, writing, "Congratulations, Deiveson Figueiredo. Great performance against a top opponent. I'm waiting for you." The message immediately grabbed attention across the MMA world, signaling a potential interest from the champion himself. Figueiredo quickly responded, thanking Merab for his respect and making it clear he's ready for the challenge, saying he would gladly step into the octagon to test himself against one of the sport's most relentless pressure fighters. While the UFC hasn't officially confirmed anything, the prospect of this fight has fans buzzing. A Dvalishvili versus Figueiredo showdown would pit the champion's unmatched cardio and grappling dominance against Figueiredo's explosive power and elite finishing ability. A true clash of styles. Even former champion Michael Bisping weighed in, admitting he'd love to see this matchup, calling it a fascinating fight between two warriors who never back down. Whether it happens next or down the line, Figueiredo versus Dvalishvili has all the ingredients of a must-watch bout that could shake up the bantamweight division once again. Move on to another news. Exciting news continues to roll in from the world of mixed martial arts, as several key matchups and developments have been confirmed. MMA insider Marcel Dorf recently reported that welterweights Charles Radke and Daniel Frinza are set to collide at the UFC Fight Night event on November 1st in Las Vegas. Both fighters are looking to bounce back from recent setbacks. Radke is eager to recover after being stopped by Mike Mala in May, while Frinza aims to rebound following a doctor stoppage loss to Reese McKee in April. This bout promises fireworks as both athletes look to re-establish themselves in one of the UFC's most competitive divisions. Meanwhile, Mark Veltkin has become one of the most talked about names in MMA following his unforgettable war with Adrian Luna Martinetti on Dana White's Contender Series. Despite losing the fight by unanimous decision, Veltkin earned a UFC contract from Dana White, who called the bout one of the most thrilling in the show's history. Covered in bruises and blood, Veltkin's warrior spirit captured the hearts of fans and officials alike. Speaking with MMA Junkie, the bantamweight shared, "My face is not clean, not good. This hurt bad. But inside, I'm feeling the best feeling of my life. I took this opportunity, and now it's time to turn the page on my career." Veltkin went on to say he plans to make his UFC debut this winter, naming Petra Sousa of Spain as his desired opponent. Sousa, who also appeared on the Contender Series, previously defeated Veltkin's teammate Bilal Taev, a fact that adds extra motivation for the newly signed fighter. "I want to check how good he is," Veltkin added, "but I'll fight anyone the UFC puts in front of me." In another surprising development, Ronda Rousey has sparked massive speculation about a potential MMA comeback. The former women's bantamweight champion has been posting training videos displaying sharp hand speed and powerful judo throws, while revealing she's falling in love with MMA again. Fans are buzzing about the possibility of seeing Rousey return to the octagon after years away from the sport. Finally, with UFC 322 just around the corner, the promotion officially unveiled the event's poster, featuring headliners Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, alongside co-main stars Valentina Shevchenko and Weili Zhang. The stacked lineup promises an unforgettable night of elite competition.